What's up, guys? Chris with CNC for Newbies and Croft CNC. Um, as a lot of people know, I've been working on uh, automatic tool changer stuff. And with that, I've had to do different renditions of um, wiring. And at one point, I had probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 different wires running in and out and everything like that. Now that I'm starting to get everything consolidated and figuring out different wire looms and finalizing maybe one wire scheme, I'm starting to label everything. And I thought nobody ever really talks about when you put your machines together, um, labeling your wiring. And some places come with them, some places, they color code them and everything like that. But one of the real easy things to use for for me is one of these label makers. So um, what I'll do is I'll actually create a label, I'll print it out, and then I'll put it on the wire. And this one is for an input to a clamp. Okay. Um, and then I use clear heat shrink tubing, or if it's like a long one or something like that, I use super tacky packing tape. Um, I like the heat shrink tubing more because it's really just easy. So what I'll do is I'll I'll put the adhesive tab on it, and then I'll just slide heat shrink tubing over top of that, hit it with a heat gun or a lighter, and go from there. Uh, and if you get the heat shrink tubing that has the adhesive backing, it will heat shrink itself, or it will shrink itself in like a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1, and it will also have an adhesive backer that creates a watertight seal over the wire. Um, Likewise, let me see if I can find a piece here. Here's two pieces. Likewise, what I'll do is I'll take one of these longer pieces of heat shrink tubing, and I will cut them down into little bands, and I'll slide those bands over top of my wire groups, and I'll actually make, if it's, I don't know, uh, a 5-wire loom, I'll get a heat shrink that slides over the 5-wire loom and then shrinks it down to size. And I'll do that in a couple places. And then I'll throw sheeting over top of the wire loom to make it look good. Um, and that's one way that you can start organizing your wires. A lot of us have many different setups. For me, for instance, I have a UC 400 UC CNC controller. I have a UC 300 UC controller. I have a UC 100. I have a Demon, uh, and then I have an X controller. Um, those are just for my routers. Then I have different controllers for my mills, my lathes, my plasma, um, stuff like that. So um, with all of these different setups, I can make really nice professional looking looms, um, and then I can make one large clump. And you can do what's called concentric braiding, um, and uh, and you can basically create wire harnesses that are very low noise. Um, they're very organized. They look really good and stuff of that nature. Um, I have wire looms where I tee wires off, and one of the things that I'll do with that is I'll take a heat shrink sleeve, and I'll actually slide it over multiple wires, and then I'll use where are they? Sorry, I'm actually doing this on the fly. Okay. Then I'll use my needle nose pliers, and while the heat shrink tubing is still hot, I'll pinch in between the wires, and the heat shrink will actually solidify that way, and it will create its own wire separators. Um, you can do it so that it pulls off to the side. You can have a really nice Y split, um, and it really makes your parts look professional. Um, on top of that, you can uh, you can buy T boots where you'll slide the middle wire and then the feed through wires in, and you can fish out the T wire. And whenever you do that, uh, you put heat shrink tubing on each side of it, and that will make a nice sealed T for wiring. Or you could take it, you can electrical tape around the T, and then you can cut a hole just with a regular pair of scissors. And one of the things that I like to do is I'll just take, I got some, as you can tell, I'm in the middle of doing this and just thought it would be nice. Um, so you can just clip a hole. See how I have that? Now, when I shrink that, there's actually a hole in the tubing to drop the T down. And then I can take another piece of heat shrink and pull it up in, and I can actually heat shrink it all together. Um, Another way to make a T fitting, uh, it's not watertight, but it looks really nice, um, and you can reinforce it. So I could do that with tape, put the heat shrink around it, put a little tape on it, and put a little more heat shrink. Or I can just buy the heat shrink T fittings, um, and that's actually a really nice way to make really nice form fitting, beautiful wire looms. Um, you know, as I do machines and I make form fitted wire harnesses, I'll take black uh, woven sheeting, and I'll actually slide that over the sections, and then I'll heat shrink right at the end of it so that it looks really nice. I don't have any of that sheeting right here available. Everything's up in my wiring box for that. Um, but you can use the spiral loom also, um, to start getting everything organized, and that works out really nice. Um, and then wire separators, guys. Let's see. Do I have? Ah, here's one right here. Okay, I pulled one of the wires out of this already, but this is a simple wire separator done with zip ties. Uh, you put one zip tie horizontally, and then for each separator, you put a zip tie vertical across the horizontal zip tie in between the wires. And that will actually create a really nice, organized separator. So that's a that's another easy way to separate and hold down different wire looms and create different wire looms. Um, Just there's multiple ways to do it. No one way is the right way. Um, I have people that they spend tens of thousands of dollars on wiring machines and stuff like that, and they produce professional wire looms. Have guys that have layout boards. They'll go as far as to actually lay out the components in their proper locations on a plywood board, and they'll put removable zip ties on the board. They'll screw a zip tie down and they'll put it on the board. They'll zip tie the wire in place, bundle it, and then they'll turn around and start sheeting it, and going from there. Uh, those are guys that really get into professional wire looms, wire harnesses, and stuff like that. But for me, for right now, it is what it is. I just figured I'd show you guys an easy way to label. Um, it's really, you can go up and get you a really inexpensive label maker, um, and you can get tape. You just get the clear packing tape, strong adhesive. You can get the clear heat shrink tubes and put right over it, and you'll have a nice labeled wire setup. You can see here and go from there. So another thing that I invest a lot in are multiple color electrical tapes, multiple cable ferrule sets. And for those of you that don't know what a cable ferrule is, uh, it's these ends that are on a lot of the CNC machines. It comes in a kit. It's this ferrule is a metal tube. Let's see if we can pull one out quick. There we go. All right. It inside is just literally this little metal tube. Okay. You slide your wire in it, and then it has this cool tool here. You just drop it in and squeeze, and it makes a nice crimped square setup. And you slide that in. You can slide that into Molex connectors, or not Molex connectors, Phoenix connectors, as screw, otherwise known as screw terminals and stuff like that. They're really nice. And as you can see, I have an assortment of them for different wire sizes and everything like that. This tool comes in really handy. I have a simple set of strippers, um, for regular wire ends. I just use the inside opening of this jaw. And for cable ferrules, I found that the end of this dowel pin holder is what I need to be able to strip wires back to the right distances. Um, and you'll get really nice cable terminations like that. You can also get cable ferrules in certain sizes with different color ends. So you may have all the same size, but you have red, blue, white, green, black, and yellow, something like that. So there's that. And then some other cool stuff you can use here. This is some of the wiring I took out of the automatic tool changer as I was building and doing different stuff. But another thing you can look at are these TB connectors. TB 1506s. It'll have um, it'll have 6 spots of screw terminals, um, and they're really nice. They have the plastic case on them. You can get the TB04 that has 4 spots. You can get the TB1504Ls, which are longs, um, and just different stuff like that. So um, pretty simple stuff. I just figured I'd give you a holler and let you guys know where everything was at and go from there. All right, later, guys.